families and friends of Task Force Tarawa, welcome to the National Museum of the Marine Corps. I don't think there's a more appropriate location to have held this reunion this evening than right here in this building, surrounded by quotations like Marines will never disappoint the expectations of their country, or uncommon valor was a common virtue. All traits of the Marines and sailors of Task Force Tarawa some 10 years ago. I'd like to add another quote from Shakespeare. I'm quoting Shakespeare. Henry V. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he who sheds his blood with me today will be my brother. This group here this evening is unbelievable. You have come from places like California, Oregon, Puerto Rico, Tulsa, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And I believe there's someone here that just arrived back from Afghanistan 2 days ago, kissed his wife and child, and is here this evening. Wow. That speaks volumes for the individuals in this room tonight. You know, we have the American Legion, we have the VFW, and it's mostly World War II, Korean, Vietnam veterans. This has been a groundbreaking occasion, and it started from the bottom up. I think it's very, very important, and I'd like to recognize them on my behalf. J.D. Zug, Dion Brugger, Dion's wife, and Laura Cohen. Please join me in another round of applause, because this wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for them. You know, I talked about the brotherhood in this room, and I'll quiet it down so the people in the back will be quiet and the people in the front can hear me. When I was growing up, a buddy of mine, his dad, had been in the 1st Marine Division in World War II. He had 2 brothers that served in the Marines in the Pacific, and another brother who served as a corpsman with the Marines. One of those brothers was killed on Iwo Jima. He fought on Guadalcanal and Okinawa. After the war, he went to work for Connecticut Light and Power, and for almost 40 years, he worked for the power company. When he retired, he looked back on his life, and he marched in the Memorial Day parades every year. He went to the schools and talked about his experiences. The defining time in his life were those 4 years he spent in the uniform of the United States Marine Corps. And whether you have served 4 years or 40 years, that will be an experience that no one can ever take away from you, and one you will be proud of for the rest of your lives. Tonight, on the 10th anniversary of the Battle of An Nasiriyah, we look back and we remember. We remember those that we lost, those individuals we just saw on the screen, and we think about their families, and we think about their friends, and we think about what might have been. Our great nation is very, very lucky that throughout its history, we have had young men and women who have donned the uniform of their armed forces and gone into harm's way, just like you did those 10 years ago today. We as a nation are blessed that we continue today to have troops serving in harm's way in places like Afghanistan. Tonight, I'd like to reminisce about 10 years ago in Task Force Tarawa. One of the things I want to talk about is how we got our name. It wasn't just Task Force Tarawa. If you recall, we deployed as a 2nd Marine Expeditionary Brigade. We knew that when we get to Kuwait, they take our aviation and put it in the 3rd Marine Corps Air Wing. We also knew that initially we would probably be stuck in the southern part of Iraq. Hence, one MEF coined the term Task Force South. That was going to be our name because we were going to operate in southern Iraq. I went to General Conway and I said, "Sir, would you mind if we looked at other names?" And he said, "That's okay." So I went to the museum and I said, "Have you got any suggestions?" And they said, "Well, you know, during World War II, Iraq's code name was Plug Hole." Could you imagine the headlines? Task Force Plug Hole captures on Nasiriyah. That didn't happen. So one day, walking into the MEF headquarters at Hospital Point, the old hospital at Camp Lejeune, as you go to the ladder well, I looked to my right, and there was a brass plaque commemorating the Battle of Tarawa. Remember, we were the East Coast Marines in that time. 2nd Marines was the ground combat element. On Tarawa, 2nd Marines played a gigantic part. Colonel Shute won the Congressional Medal of Honor. I said, "Tarawa, it fits." I went back to General Conway, and on the 20th of December, 2002, he approved Task Force Tarawa. And that's what we became known as. What about our missions? You know, we didn't start out to take a few bridges in Nasiriyah. Initially, they thought we would be rear area security in southern Iraq, hence the name Task Force South. Turned out, as we sailed out of Norfolk on the way to Kuwait, they came up with another mission. Perhaps we would take the oil fields, we would hold the oil fields in southern Iraq after 1st Marine Division captured the fields and moved up towards Baghdad. And then, as we always say in the Marine Corps, Semper Gumby, Gumby the figure, always flexible, they started looking at another mission. Perhaps we would capture some bridges in Al-Nasiriyah, preserve the combat power of the 1st Marine Division, which was 1MEF's main effort on its way to Baghdad. And that's what came to pass. And on the 23rd of March, 10 years ago today, we started to capture those bridges. We didn't know we were going to get that mission until the 22nd. It was a be prepared mission. We found out the day before, okay, execute on the 23rd. Early morning on the 23rd, we conducted a relief in place with the 3rd Infantry Division of the U.S. Army on a bridge on Route 1 over the Euphrates River. At the same time, 2nd Marines was moving north into the city of Al-Nasiriyah. And you would never believe, and we would never imagine what we would run across. The 507th Maintenance Company of the U.S. Army. A unit that had wandered and gotten lost and went into Al-Nasiriyah, crossed both bridges, started up Route 7 when they realized they were lost. They turned around, came back across both bridges, and were ambushed as they crossed the Euphrates River by the Iraqi army, by the Fedayeen, and they took heavy casualties.